Surprise. What's up, everybody? Good to see you. We are getting started today. It's not going to be a fun day, but it's one of these ones we got to get done. Um, just so everybody knows, the giveaway is closed. I've had some questions about it, and it's closed, but it also has been all sent out. So if you're waiting for your gift card, it was sent to you. And so we are good there. Other than that, we're going to get going today. We start a little bit later. So what we'll do is kind of jump in. We're watching the medical examiner today. And then what we're going to be doing is I want to know from you guys before I kind of go there is should I react to the interviews? And the interviews are Melanie Gibbs' interview, Melanie Pulowski's interview. Melanie Gibbs is a very, very long interview. I remember seeing it in parts, which I didn't even, like I said, didn't even watch the whole thing. And then I saw that I think Nate either did a second one or put it all together, something like that. So if you do want to see those, let me know before we finish the trial. We're coming up on Christmas. I know I have people who do not celebrate Christmas, but for us on the 24th and 25th, we will not be doing a normal stream. Probably Christmas night. Like I said, I'd love to spend some time with you guys. And just anybody who doesn't have people for Christmas, I want our community to be together at any capacity. So we'll be probably looking forward to that. Other than that, let's get started today. Let me know if there's any audio issues. Like I said, this one's not going to be great as far as it's not going to be fun to watch is all I'm saying. It's going to be hard. So yeah, let me know. Other than that, let's get going today.
Together because she says that's kind of the normal sign-up process. So she said everybody did that together. So in fairness, I do have to disclose that that was part of what she told me this morning. The state would avoid any potential negative influence or prejudice that could be derived back against the defense. So that is what we were asking today, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Wixom, I guess one more question I have. When you say she's been watching the proceedings here in the trial, we had that motion in limine hearing. Do you know if she watched the previous motion in limine hearing that discussed her own potential testimony and whether that's part of what she's already observed?
I can't. I hired to
opportunity
No
to.
idea.
And then the court brought up a point that I Moni in any way that would aid the defense judge. Ironically, now we're at
this witness. I have a witness. We've done that.
Feeding again for continuing.
Holy moly. Okay. So it looks like we're doing a bunch of court stuff. Obviously, for
witnesses in rebuttal.
For our purposes, we don't need to hear all of the rebuttals and the things of that nature. If it's not necessary for us to listen to, we won't.
If you'd like to call your next witness, you may.
The state would call Dr. Erick Christensen.
I'm just trying to mentally prepare for this.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Blake, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please remind the jury who you are?
Yes, Erick Christensen. I'm the recently retired chief medical examiner from the state of Utah.
Oh, boy.
And Dr. Christensen, have you been watching any portions of this trial with the exception of Dr. Raven's testimony?
No, and I haven't watched that. I've just read the transcript.
And outside of that, you have not heard the other testimony presented. Is that correct?
I have not.
How long did you work at the Utah Medical Examiner's office?
15 and a half years.
And Dr. Christensen, when you are looking at an autopsy, are you looking at more than just the autopsy itself in order to reach a conclusion as to a cause and manner of death?
Yes, that's a routine part of what we do is not just the autopsy itself, but the evaluation of any tests that we order, as well as a review of whatever history we can find that will help us sort things out.
And why do you do that?
It's essentially information gathering. I think I may have said when I was here last that I don't have the ability to sit down and talk with my patients and ask them what's going on with you, what happened with you. And so all of that sort of information for me comes from other sources. It can be from medical records. It can be from interviews with people that knew them. It can be, any number of things. And so we gather all that other kind of information in an attempt to understand what's going on with that person.
And you mentioned that your patient can't talk to you.
Yes.
Do you recall making that statement? Would that be similar to when somebody goes into the doctor and fills out a medical history?
Yes. I mean, when you go see your doctor, they ask you questions about what's going on with you before they decide on a course of treatment with you. And that history gathering, those papers they always make you fill out before
So
you go in.
everything that they said in their testimonies for Chad's kids is going to fall apart. And the problem is he probably had to listen to everything that at least Chad said, which is about her medical history, and it's going to fall apart.
Or send you ahead of time and all those kind of things. That's information gathering, similar to what we do in our context, just we don't have the ability to get it directly from the patient.
And when you're gathering that information, is it because you've already formed a conclusion and you're simply trying to find information to back it up?
No.
Is it the opposite?
Yes, it's an attempt to basically find as much information as we can that will be relevant to why this person died, and then sorting that problem out.
And then turning to Tammy Daybell, do you recall the autopsy on Tammy Daybell?
Yes.
And as part of your involvement in the case, did you review other documents?
Yes,
Did those documents include medical records?
they did.
Generally speaking, if you're doing an autopsy where the cause of death is not immediately apparent, do you generally request medical records?
Yes, that's a fairly routine part of what we do.
And again, is that to provide you that background information to help informing your conclusion?
Yes.
And in this case, do you recall receiving multiple additional reports from law enforcement?
Yes, we did.
And at some point, did you review those?
Yes.
And did you at some point also create a list, or did the Office of the Medical Examiner keep some kind of a list of all those documents reviewed?
Yes.
And did those include reports from the coroner and or interviews of the coroner from
Yes.
Prince County?
Both.
And also the deputy coroner,
Yes.
the officer that arrived on scene of Tammy's death?
Yes.
Did you also review reports regarding an attempted shooting?
Yes.
Did you review multiple reports involving people providing some background information about Tammy?
Yes.
Did that include background information regarding her health?
Some of them commented on that. Yes.
And when we talk about those medical records, do you recall which medical records you reviewed?
We reviewed records from the Teton Clinic as well as from Seasons Medical. And then we also were able to get records from a clinic in Springville, Utah, where she had been seen before relocating to Idaho.
And at some point, have you also had an opportunity to review a report prepared by Dr. Raven?
Yes.
Did you see in that report her list of documents she reviewed?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that it was much smaller than the list you reviewed?
Overall,
Yes, there
So
were
let's put a little bit of context behind this, right? I mean, basically, what I heard, and you guys can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, what I heard Chad's family saying and Chad saying is that Tammy refused to go to the doctor even though she was unwell. She didn't force herself, but she would rather do a natural remedy than go to the doctor, and that she was having health issues that she was ignoring. And according to 3 people, which would be Chad, Emma, and Garth, all basically back up this claim that Tammy was declining and having issues and basically getting closer and closer. Even though, for how many years was Chad saying that he thought that Tammy would pass away young, or any other red flag alerts? But I mean, as far as their job, they're trying to do what they have to, right? They're trying to determine if she passed away and find out her medical history. And so I don't know. It's just, this is going to be hard to listen to, but let's keep going.
We reviewed a lot more than what was on her list.
Did you also note that she made no indication of reviewing medical records?
Yeah, there was no list of medical records in the report that I saw.
And in her report, she'd reached a conclusion.
She did.
In your review of her report and just looking at what she looked at, if you hadn't had the additional information, would you have maybe reached her same conclusion?
Certainly possible, yes.
And again, is that exactly why you request the additional documentation so that you can make an informed decision?
Yes, it changes when you are dealing with multiple possible causes of death, you're looking for information that will help you either increase or decrease the likelihood of any one of those possibilities. And so, yeah, that additional information gathering is aimed at that endeavor.
And again, that additional information is not to confirm a decision you've already made. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's simply to provide you necessary information.
Yes.
And when we talk about Tammy's autopsy, Again, can you talk us through, when you start that autopsy, what external injuries, if any, did you observe?
The only injuries she had that were externally visible were a few bruises on her upper arms and one on her chest.
So again, is it fair to say when you first observed Tammy, the cause of death is not readily apparent?
That's correct.
And then when you performed the actual autopsy, can you remind us internally what you observed as far as
My
her
question
organs?
is, why was she bruised on her arms? And I really hope you guys know, I do not want this to be cold. Like, I don't want any misconception that this is not hard to listen to. And I want everyone to take a little bit of understanding and reverence for the fact that Tammy was taken. And yeah, this is hard to listen to. And I don't know, man, it makes me really sad. That's all I'll say. It just makes me really sad.
Now, essentially normal organs, normal brain, normal heart, no significant pathology in any of her organs.
Do you recall observing something called pulmonary edema?
Yes.
And can you again explain what that is for the jurors?
Yeah, pulmonary edema is simply buildup of fluid within the lungs. Fluid leaks out of the alveolar capillaries, the little small vessels that are involved in exchanging air into the blood in the lungs. And as a result of a variety of different processes, that fluid can leak out of those capillaries and start filling the air spaces, and then mixes with the proteins and things that are already in those spaces and creates a foamy froth.
So as you're doing the internal autopsy, was a cause of death readily apparent at that point?
No.
Based on what you observed, what did you determine were possible causes of death?
So in any case where you have essentially no significant findings, she had pulmonary edema was really it, then we are looking at a fairly short list of possible causes of death. Those include cardiac arrhythmias that are not related to structural problems in the heart, include seizures, includes asphyxial deaths of all kinds. It would include drug intoxication. And those are probably the big four categories of things.
He just said asphyxial.
With no anatomic cause evident. It would include drug intoxication. And those are probably the big four categories of things with no anatomic cause evident.
So if we break those down a little bit, can you remind everyone what you did in relation to the potential toxicology or poison overdose, looking into that?
Sure. We initially started with a fairly broad panel of toxicology testing.
Judge, I'm going to object at this point. It's becoming cumulative and not related to presentation of the defense.
On cumulative, Ms. Blake, is this distinguishing from testimony already proffered in the first time he's testified?
Just going over it to remind the jurors, I think in a trial of this length, generally, it's not necessarily considered cumulative to review some of the information.
And Judge, that's a walking response. It's cumulative.
Well, at this point, Ms. Blake, I will ask you to just maintain the scope to what's proper on rebuttal at this time, and I will sustain a cumulative objection if it's simply the repetition of testimony previously offered.
And if I may respond briefly.
Go ahead.
As far as for purposes of rebuttal, I think Dr. Raven did come in. She presented that she made findings. We went over what she did and didn't review. So I think reviewing with the medical examiner what he went through is proper for rebuttal.
Okay, well, again, I'll at this point sustain that objection. If you'd like to continue, I'll just keep an eye on that. If you could keep the scope to rebuttal, please.
Toxicology tests were in fact conducted, correct?
Yes.
Based on those, did you find it likely that Tammy would have died of anything related to toxicology issues?
No.
And then what is another cause that can that you would look into?
Seizures was also something we assessed.
And again, you reviewed Tammy's medical records, is that right?
Yes.
Any notations or signs of a prior history of seizures?
No.
Did you ultimately determine seizures was a likely cause of Tammy's death?
No, it was not a likely cause.
And then you said a cardiac arrhythmia?
Yes.
Similarly, did you look at Tammy's heart?
Yes.
Any signs of irregularities?
Her heart was structurally normal.
Given her age, medical records, and your review of everything, did you determine that a cardiac arrhythmia was a likely cause of death?
It was not.
And what did that leave you with?
That left asphyxial causes essentially at that point.
So I just saw if there's a question, if there is any pictures shown on the screen, I do not know, but I do know that Judge Boyce was clear on not having like sensitive material shared. So if there is anything disturbing, they've never shown it in any one of our videos. They will shut that camera off or something of that nature. But from what I remember knowing is that they've never shown anything publicly. Yeah, they don't. I don't think they do that actually in general, because I don't think there's anything on Charles's either that you were allowed to see sensitive material that I know.
Any indications in Tammy's medical records of any negative interaction of any drugs and or homeopathic medication she may have been using?
Judge, again, it's cumulative.
Overruled.
Are you aware or did you learn that Tammy was taking an antidepressant?
Yes.
Did you see any signs or indication that the antidepressant played a role in her death?
No.
Did you see any sign or indication that sleep apnea may have played a role in her death?
No.
Did you see anything in her medical records regarding sleep apnea?
Not that I recall. No.
Would sleep apnea generally be something that you would be concerned about causing a sudden death for someone?
When it does, it certainly can be associated with sudden death, but generally speaking, that is in the setting of someone who has significant additional comorbidities, usually significant obesity and underlying heart disease.
Yeah, see, and that's what I was saying. I saw someone comment that the other day, and this is in no way to put anybody on blast, but I was just saying, when we start talking about like medical conditions, obviously I am not an expert in any of this, but what I will say is that it's very important to put things in context. And sleep apnea by itself is not a usual general life-threatening thing. So a lot of people who have sleep apnea, but it is not going to cause, you know, a passing like this. That's the point, is why I always call out this medical stuff. It's kind of like when Lori tried to say that Tylee was off her antidepressants and stopped taking her medication for her ovarian cyst and all these things. Like, basically Lori was trying to paint a picture that Tylee was off her medication, and it looks like Chad's family was trying to paint a picture that she had some kind of stuff, but it was all just to kind of paint the picture of what they wanted you to think and see.
In reviewing Tammy's medical records and performing the autopsy, was Tammy obese?
No.
Are you familiar with, I may say this term wrong, but colloidal silver?
Colloidal silver,
Colloidal
yes.
silver. Any indication that played a role in Tammy's death?
No.
And we talked about ultimately the cause of death being determined to be asphyxiation.
Yes.
When you are looking at the manner of death, how many potential manners do you consider?
There are generally 5. A death can be ruled for manner, can be ruled a natural death, an accident, a suicide, a homicide, or undetermined.
In this case, did you see any indication that led you to believe the asphyxiation was natural?
No.
Did you see any sign or indication that led you to believe the asphyxiation was accidental?
No.
Did you see any sign or indication to lead you to believe the death was suicide?
No.
So the 2 categories left would be homicide and undetermined, is that correct?
Yes.
Is it fair to say undetermined is a category if 2 or more of the other 4 are still on the table?
Yes. Generally, we will use undetermined. The most common scenario where we encounter that is overdose deaths, where someone, for example, has a history of abusing medication, but also has a history of depression and maybe even prior overdose attempts, and then they're dead of an overdose that is related to something that they routinely abuse. In the absence of a note or something else like that,
That's why we also said, guys, it's very important to have context. We brought up, if you guys have seen Breaking Bad, and when there's an overdose in the show and a girl dies from overdose, like, there's a reason why, you know what I mean? Like, this is, we need to debunk the fact that there was anything natural about what happened to Tammy. That's the point. It needs to be debunked. There's nothing that she was doing with her natural remedies that caused her to die. There's nothing she ignored that caused her to die. She was not out of shape. She was not, like, there was no underlying reason. She did not have a natural death. And so we have to be as clear as possible. You know, it's like even Lori coming up with that whole situation of Tylee doing it and then doing it to herself. Like, these people are making up a scenario that they either know they have to sell or whatever the case is, but we're not going to allow it. We're not going to allow that. We're not going to allow a natural person who actually takes care of themselves and naturally looks for things. I believe in medicine, but I also think that natural remedies are also usable. I probably wouldn't use certain natural remedies in lieu of something very serious. Like right now, I take medication for my fungal meningitis. That doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, I need something natural, because then I'm playing a game with something dangerous. But I'm trying to put everything in context just so we understand. We just listened to Emma and Garth both come back just to reinforce the fact that Tammy had some kind of issues and some medical history, which is not true at all.
Difficult to distinguish whether that overdose was intentional or not. And so we use undetermined as manner for those kinds of things.
And in your experience with the autopsies you've conducted and the death certificates you've signed off on, at some point, have you used all of those different manners on different death certificates?
Yes.
So is it fair to say in this case, you weren't starting with the conclusion that it was homicide and working backwards?
No.
Was it the opposite direction?
Yes.
Once you determined that the other 3 manners were not likely, that left you with which one?
Homicide or undetermined, but there was really nothing to compete with homicide. And so undetermined was taken off the table.
In your review of Dr. Raven's report and testimony and the questioning here today and through the trial, has your opinion as to the cause of death changed?
No.
Has your opinion as to the manner of death changed?
No.
And what did you determine the cause of death to be
Asphyxia.
and the manner of death?
Homicide.
I have no further questions.
All right. Thank you, Ms. White.
If Pryor says one stupid thing about
Mr.
her
Pryor,
health,
cross.
Thank you, Judge.
this swear barrel's coming out. I've been good about it. I haven't said anything yesterday when we did a video.
Good morning, Dr. Christensen.
Good morning.
I'd like to go procedurally through the process of what you performed in this particular case, if we could.
Sure.
At some point, you were present for the exhumation of Tammy Daybell. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then within the same day, you performed an autopsy. Is that correct?
Yes.
You did your analysis of that autopsy, made your findings at that point. Is that correct?
Not on that day, no.
Okay. You drew some medical conclusions about items that you would cross off your list. Would that be fair at that time?
We had some initial information, but not enough to exclude anything at that point.
What initial information did you have?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, you said you had initial information. Is that at the time of the autopsy or was that before the autopsy?
Yes, at the time of the autopsy, that's what I meant.
So then at the conclusion of the autopsy and on the same day that they reburied Tammy Daybell, at that point, you started requesting additional information from law enforcement. Would that be fair?
Yes.
And do you recall specifically what you asked for law enforcement in terms of what you requested at that point?
I don't recall specifically, no.
A lot of items.
Yes, we received ultimately a lot of items.
And let me ask you, have you ever heard the expression confirmatory bias?
Confirmation bias, yes.
Okay.
I heard that.
So I guess I'm using
You
it.
can't even say it right, idiot. Sorry, let me slow down. He's not an idiot. It just is what it is. I got to be careful with what I say about people. Yeah, this is so. Let me just put this also back into context really quickly. We are now talking about how there's confirmation bias, meaning that everyone is being swayed to believe that the police set up Chad for all of this. So that is the defense, is that Chad's been set up, he's been framed, and right, that because of the initial, which, okay, let me not ever speak on a profession that I don't understand. But let me get this. What I always did struggle with is understanding. So initially there was an autopsy done, but then they just determined it very quickly. And I think we need to talk about levels of autopsies. Maybe there are differences in as far as how deep something goes. I know with Charles's, I unfortunately saw it myself in court, and it was very thorough, and it's a lot to see that. But I mean, my point being, where was I going with this? Oh, my point being is that I wonder if there was just a confirmation and then was there a second autopsy? Maybe I'm a little confused. But how did they not see what happened? Because that's confusing me right now, is why wasn't that looked into? And I'm not trying to hate on anybody or anything. I'm genuinely curious, because why was there a second autopsy done?
Psychology context, confirmation bias. And isn't it true confirmation bias is a situation in which you have science and you're examining a
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel's testifying. Move to strike.
Overruled.
confirmation bias? Isn't it true confirmation bias is a situation where you're given a certain number of facts, and then you go outside those facts to get collateral information that may or may not influence your decision? Would you agree with that?
Not exactly, no. I mean, confirmation bias to me, my understanding of that concept is that you, at some point along a process of making a decision, you have information, you come to a conclusion, and then you essentially evaluate all subsequent information in light of that initial conclusion, both looking selectively for
So
things.
there was one autopsy, but one, and I just saw Jen just said it as well. The first autopsy was done by a local coroner who I believe who didn't have as much medical training, which is why who found the second. Okay, so there was an initial autopsy, but like I said, levels of autopsies, right? There's not just one. One is very extensive and very like look at everything versus I don't know, but I know there's got to be some levels to it because an autopsy is pretty invasive.
Support your opinion and rejecting things that don't conform to that opinion.
Okay, so at some point you requested a number of items from law enforcement, is that right? After you did the autopsy, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then you mentioned that you reviewed, I think, Teton Medical, do you recall that?
Yes.
Seasons Medical?
Yes.
And then a small amount of medical on Springville, right?
Correct.
There wasn't much there, correct?
No, I don't believe so.
And when we talk about the amount of information provided to you from law enforcement, it was significant, wasn't it?
It was a lot of information, yes.
Do you have any idea approximately how much time it's been to go through all that information that you were provided by law enforcement?
I would guess multiple hours, but I don't have an exact number.
Okay. And at some point you hadn't made a decision at this point, is that correct?
That's correct.
And at this point you didn't have anything specifically in your evaluation that caused you to go away from either undetermined or asphyxia homicide, correct? That's where you were at the end?
At the end, ultimately, our final discussion was around the deciding between undetermined or homicidal asphyxia.
Okay. And at that point, based on your review of all of the law enforcement reports and everything that the police officers have provided to you, you decided to lean towards homicide. Is that right?
But we made a decision that this we would rule this a homicide, yes.
As part of your review of this case, did you talk to Chad's daughter, Emma Murray?
No.
Did you talk to Chad's daughter, Leah?
No.
Did you talk to Chad's son, Garth?
I wonder why
Did you
not?
talk to Chad's son, Mark?
Because they're all saying, well, okay, let me slow down. I'm going to be factual here. What we do know for a fact is that Chad's two oldest kids on the stand stood up and lied about Tammy having so many different health issues that would basically lead her to this place. That's all I'm saying. I don't know about the other kids, but asking them, I don't think would have made any difference because at least we know two people are 100% standing up for Chad.
No.
Did you talk to Chad's son, Seth?
No.
Did you talk to Chad's mom or dad?
No.
Okay. So you got information from law enforcement, is that correct?
Yes.
But you didn't go back and look at anything provided to you from the family to give you some concept of what potentially the family history or medical was, correct?
Nothing was provided to me from the family.
Well, nothing was provided, but you didn't ask, right?
I did not.
Your Honor, argumentative.
Overruled.
You didn't ask, did you?
I did not.
And you specifically asked the police officers to provide you information about this case, is that right?
Honor, asked and answered multiple times.
Sustained.
Yeah, but he also has the ability to look at a body and determine things based off of the immoralities. So, I mean, you don't really need to, I don't know. You don't really need to get a million people to tell you the medical history. And I'm pretty sure most kids don't know all the medical history of their family.
After you provided this exhaustive list of police reports that they provided to you, at what specific date did you make your determination?
I don't know specifically when it was. It was sometime in the days immediately preceding when we signed the report, but I don't recall specifically which of those days.
Would it be fair to say that it was 14, 15 months later that you finally signed the report?
I believe that's about the right timeline. Yes, 13, 14 months.
So after 14 or 15 months of looking at this, you then made the decision that you came to the conclusion you did. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. That's what he just said.
Now I want to go back to the autopsy. And obviously I'm not a medical examiner.
No, you're not.
But when I read the autopsy, I noted that you didn't make any note of the inflammation that was occurring in Tammy's lungs. Is there a reason why you didn't bring that up?
Because there's no significant inflammation in her lungs.
And you made the determination that it wasn't significant, correct?
That's correct.
So we don't know what the level of the inflammation was at the time that Tammy Daybell died, right?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel's testifying misstates prior testimony. Move to strike.
Sustained. I'll strike the question.
Do you know the level of inflammation that was in Tammy Daybell's lung at the time of her death?
I know it was in her lungs at the time I looked at them from the time of autopsy, which would be expected to be reflective of that.
All right. And if there's inflammation in the lungs, that would be a reasonable explanation for why we had potential fluids in the lungs, would it not?
There was not sufficient inflammation in her lungs to account for the pulmonary edema that was present.
Okay.
Boom. You're not getting out of it. You're not gonna squeeze him like a lemon. There's no way you're working him through that.
At no time when you testified the first time did you mention the fact that there was inflammation in Tammy Daybell's lungs, did you?
No. And do you want further response?
Well, you can if you'd like. Go ahead.
There's inflammation. Inflammatory cells are a normal constituent of lungs, even normal healthy lungs. It's normal for there to be inflammatory cells there in small numbers. They're there basically to do the job of what inflammatory cells do, fight intruders and deal with infections. And there was no significant increase in the amount of inflammatory cells present in her lung.
Okay, so if there's no, if it's part and parcel of a normal lung, then wouldn't the response in the autopsy say that it was a normal lung?
I would expect so, yes.
Yeah, and instead, in the autopsy, you talked about inflammation in the lungs. So this wasn't part and parcel of just a little inflammation. There was inflammation in the lungs, wasn't there?
I would have to review them. I don't recall at this point.
Right. And Judge, can I have a moment, please?
You may.
Thank you. Second time you're called to back your case as a rebuttal witness.
All right, here we go.
So I previously discussed with you that on the very first time you testified, you didn't mention anything about inflammation in the lungs. Is that right?
Not that I recall.
All right. And then today, when the prosecutor called you back after the defense has rested their case as a rebuttal witness.
Objection, Your Honor. That's a narrative. Move to strike.
Sustained.
Second time you're called to back, questioned by the prosecutor. Again, no discussion about inflammation in the lungs,
Objection, Your
correct?
Honor. Argumentative. Asked and answered. Move to strike.
Overruled.
Second time you're back, again, no discussion about inflammation in the lungs, correct?
Correct.
And then only after the defense attorney gets up here and questions it does the subject come up. Is that right?
Yes.
Nothing else.
All right, Ms. Blake, redirect.
That mid did nothing.
Dr. Christensen, have you testified before?
Yes.
And are you familiar with court proceedings that the state brings people back as rebuttal witnesses?
Yes.
So have you testified in that capacity before?
A couple of times, yes.
Counsel just went over inflammation in the lungs pretty in depth. Again, was there any indication that inflammation of Tammy's lungs caused her death?
No.
Done. That is all. You spent 10
I
minutes
think you
trying to make a narrative, and she asked one question in the whole house Jenga. That's all I say is Jenga.
There was no significant or there was no signs of inflammation that would have caused the pulmonary edema.
That's my recollection.
And you considered
Oh, that makes sense. So court talk. I have 2 points to make really quickly. Number one, I'm thinking about how they have to spend their time writing down the back and forth, because that's very interesting to me that as someone's doing the defense, you have to come up with what you're gonna say. And then the other thing is like you have to say specifically. That's why Lori said that. Would it surprise you to learn? Because I think you cannot lead, so you have to ask a question, and they say that a lot. So I'm picking up on things.
possible causes of death given essentially a negative autopsy.
Yes.
In your role as a medical examiner in Utah, do you generally request reports if the cause of death is not readily apparent?
Yes.
And is that exactly what you did in this case?
Yes.
So nothing about this was different than what you would normally do as far as information gathering.
In terms of the gathering, no. The volume was certainly different, but what we requested is not different. There was just a lot more generated in this case.
And in reviewing the reports provided by law enforcement, were there any reports where Chad's kids had agreed to speak with law enforcement and provide information?
Not that I recall.
Would it surprise you to learn that they refused?
Judge,
to
I'm
speak
going to
with law
object.
enforcement?
Hearsay.
Overruled.
Would it surprise you to learn that they refused to speak with law enforcement?
I don't know if it would surprise me or not. I mean, certainly they're right not to talk to law enforcement. But
And if you had been provided reports that included statements from the kids, would you have reviewed them?
absolutely.
And if none were provided, would it surprise you to learn it's because they don't exist?
No.
Game.
And again, when you're requesting that additional information, is it because you've already made a decision and you're simply trying to support it?
Yeah, Brandon, we cut through about 30 minutes of this right off the bat, so we can watch a couple more shorter things today because we ran through that quick.
No.
And in fact, is it the opposite?
Yes. We gather information to help us make a decision.
And is that what you did in this case?
It is.
McKay's testifying.
And again, based on the information you gathered, the autopsy, anything about questions today or other information that would cause you to change your opinion?
No.
And again, your opinion on the manner of death?
Manner of death was homicide.
I have no further questions.
Judge, I have additional questions.
What topic?
Kids, no reports.
Your Honor, that was well within the scope.
That was within the scope. It was brought up on cross, so
Lindsay.
I don't see that there was.
You snap on them. All right, so right now, we've got a lot of things. We're getting close to the end. What is McKay's? What is that? This is our right here. Oh, McKay, here you go. All right, Brandon. Brandon is now controlling the stream. The power of the chat. I love it. You guys know I love you. All right. Subtitles.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, the court will note now the witness has been sworn. Before we begin with direct examination, I'll just inquire, Mr. Baglin, have you listened to any of the testimony that's taken place in this trial, either through the live stream or any other way observed any?
Okay, so you guys know, this is a rebuttal witness, and it says Jason McKay Abaglin, that must be his name, Garth Daybell's colleague, testifies in the Chad Daybell trial.
Trial testimony.
I've not. No.
Okay, have you talked to anyone else about anything they've testified to in this trial?
No.
Okay, thank you for those responses. Ms. Blake, you can inquire on direct.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Jason McKay Abeglin. That's JASON MACKAY ABEGGLEN.
And do you go by McKay?
Yes.
Mr. Baglin, do you know an individual named Garth Daybell?
Yes, I do.
How do you know him?
We worked together at a haunted attraction called the Haunted Mill.
And where's the Haunted Mill located?
It's in Teton, Idaho.
And when you say Teton, Idaho, is that the city of Teton?
Yes.
Where the hell is Teton?
Do you recall approximately when you worked there with Garth?
I started working there, I think, in 2016, and we had worked together for quite a few years. But I worked like right next to him the year of 2019. We worked, really close.
And when you say you worked right next to him, can you explain a little bit what you mean by that?
He was just one room over from mine. And so if it was slower, we could like talk to each other and stuff. So.
And with the Haunted Mill, typically how long is that open? Is it a seasonal attraction?
Yep, it's open for roughly the month of October.
And so in October of 2019, you were working in close proximity to Garth.
Yes.
At some point, did you and Garth develop a friendship?
Yeah, we did.
Did you sometimes hang out outside of work?
We went to a few haunted houses together after the season had ended, yeah.
Did you hang out when you were at work and associate with each other?
Yes.
Did Garth generally talk to you about any issues within his family?
Nope.
Do you recall an occasion when he did share something with you about some family issues?
He told me it was the following weekend after his mom's passing. He talked about that.
What do you recall him telling you about that?
I remember he said that he found her when he got home from work, and he didn't know where his father was. And I don't remember if he said that she was in the bed or next to the bed.
Immediate shutdown from his entire story. He said he came home. I will never forget it. He said he came home. He saw his parents in their bed at night. It was about 1 a.m. He said he went up to his room or to his room, whatever. He said that he watched YouTube till about 3 a.m., fell asleep. Then he told Lindsay that he woke up to his dad screaming, but then on cross, he said that to Lindsay on cross, he said that he heard a thump and went running in. And now he's saying that he came home from work, found her on the side of the bed by himself without his dad.
But she said she was kind of pale and her lips were blue.
That's 3 different stories.
On a typical night, when would work end at the Haunted Mill?
We usually left work around 12:30ish. Depending on how busy it was, we would go later. So some nights we'd go until like 1 or 1:30. But
And your understanding from what Garth told you was when he got home, he found his mother.
yeah,
And at that time, her lips were blue and she was pale,
yes,
and that he did not know where his father was.
correct.
I have no further questions.
Yeah, you don't need to ask another question. That directly destroys everything Garth said on the stand. Everything. He gave 2 different
All right, Mr.
stories.
Pryor,
No
cross-examination.
wonder the freaking people at the grand jury were like, yeah, that's 2 different things.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, what was the work schedule at the Haunted Mill?
We would open around 7:30 and then it would go to midnight, but we weren't able to leave until the rest of the customers made it through the attraction.
And what days of the week would the Haunted Mill be open during just the month of October, correct?
Correct. And it would be open. They changed their schedule. I think the last 2 weeks of the month it was full time, and then the rest of the month it was just on the weekends.
So if I understand correctly, that the last 2 weeks of October would be every day?
Yes.
Did that include Sundays?
No.
So it was Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday?
Monday through Saturday.
And the day that the Haunted Mill would close would be the 31st of October?
Correct.
Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you know the day that Tammy Daybell died?
I do not.
Okay. So when you told the prosecuting attorney that it was the week after her passing, if you don't know what day she died, how do you know it was a week after her passing?
Garth he took a day off after it happened, and then he was back the following weekend. So it's just when I saw him next.
Okay. So it was the following weekend after the date that Tammy allegedly passed away.
Correct.
Did he mention anything about attending funeral services or any memorials the following weekend?
No, he did not.
Did he say anything about having to do visits with his church or anything like that as part of any program the weekend after that?
No, he did not.
Okay.
What's your point? How about the contradicting story?
So he indicated that she had blue lips and she had already passed. Is that right?
Correct.
Did he indicate to you that at that time he played video games until 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Objection, Your Honor, misstates testimony.
And guess what? That's not what it was. It was 3 a.m. and it was YouTube. Get your shit straight, brother, because that's not what he said. He got home at night. That's not what Garth said. He said he got home. He got home. He saw his parents. He heard snoring. He walked to his room. He watched YouTube. You can go back and reference it. You should have watched your stuff before you talked. And then he went to sleep around 3 a.m. and then was awoken by his father screaming for his help. And then when he was crossed by Lindsay, he said that he heard a thump, and that's what woke him up. And then he tells his friend that he came home at the middle of the morning, found her already gone by herself. So that's where we're at.
Overruled.
Did he say anything to you about the fact that he was playing video games until 3 o'clock that evening? Sir?
No, he did not.
Did he say anything about hearing snoring coming from the room that night as well, sir?
No, he did not.
He didn't play video games till 3.
And you and Garth would be such close friends, you went to 2 haunted houses in 3 years?
Objection, Your Honor, misstates the testimony.
What a frick. Dude, he always gets me with such a sharpness, you know? It's just so out of nowhere.
Argumentative.
Sustained.
Move to strike.
I'll strike that question.
So how many, you mentioned that you went to a couple of haunted houses. Is that right, sir?
Yeah, we did that all on the same night.
The same night as what?
It was, I think, the following weekend after our attraction had closed. We just went and visited some other places that were still open.
On the 31st. Who went with you?
It was myself, Garth, Kara Briggs, and Emma Moss.
And this revelation that he supposedly made to you occurred,
Honor, argumentative, move to strike.
Exactly.
Sustained.
Hell
and this
yeah.
statement that he made to you supposedly occurred when during this visit?
Objection, Your Honor. Again, argumentative with the word supposedly move to strike.
I'll sustain that as well, Mr. Pryor.
Can you tell me when and time, date the statement was made to you, sir?
I was still at work at the Haunted Mill. There were a few other scare actors around us at the time. It was a little bit closer to the end of the shift. Garth was pretty quiet most of the night. And
How
then,
much do you think that pays? You just stay in the room and then you hide and then somebody walks in and you just go, whoo! I wonder how much you make.
I kind of went up to him and gave him my condolences, and then that's when he told me that he had found her.
So you weren't particularly close friends. Would that be fair?
Yeah, more like close coworkers.
Okay. And this close coworker disclosed to you something very personal about his mother's death. Is that right?
Her mother? You can't say anything straight.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
Overruled.
This close coworker decided on one day just to disclose a very personal matter.
He said he walked up and gave him condolences because he heard about his mom, and that's when he shared details. He didn't just come into the scare haunted house dressed like a ghost and start telling his coworker this. He just said why he did it.
About his mother's death to you. Is that right?
Correct.
And nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, you didn't do anything. That was not even a head turn moment because you didn't turn your head much.
Ms. Blake, redirect.
That was not a snap. I'll give him credit if there's credit due. He did
Mr.
good
Baglin,
with Gibb because she just let him say whatever he wanted.
Talk to you about finding his mother. How did he appear?
He did seem sad, so I could tell something was affecting him.
And was he clear to you in his statement that he's the one that found his mom?
Yes.
And was he clear in his statement that his dad wasn't there?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
All right. That will
Snapping
conclude
the
the
F
testimony
off.
then of Mr. Baglin.
All right, there's a few other short ones in here. Let me see what else. So if you guys know, we are watching, as you've seen, East Idaho News has the full day, which is what we started on, but those full days are uncut, so we have to fast forward. I think you guys wanted to watch this too. This is Garth's Forrest Fisher. This is the attorney, Garth's attorney. Yes, Garth Daybell's attorney testifies. So he was there right before Garth went on. We'll watch this. This is about 6 minutes.
solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
And then we'll also watch Ashlyn. Hers is short. She's Tylee's friend.
Thank you.
May I, Judge?
You may. You can.
Would you
fire
state-
back.
Would you state your name, spell your last name for the record?
Thank you. Yes. William Forrest Fisher.
Oh, he's smiling and giggly. They're friends because they're both representing a Daybell. It's immediate friends.
Fisher is Fischer.
Mr. Fisher, how are you employed?
I am an attorney with Molten Law Office in Driggs, Idaho.
Okay, and you're licensed to practice law in the state of Idaho?
I am.
Did you have an occasion in December of 2021 in regards to a client by the name of Garth Daybell?
I did.
What was the nature of that representation?
As part of my employment, my office contracts out with Fremont County to do contract public defense work. And so under that contract, I was asked to come down to St. Anthony to the Fremont County Courthouse to represent Mr. Daybell, who at that time was under a grand jury testimony situation.
Was it a grand jury indictment against Mr. Daybell? Or proceeding?
It was a proceeding.
Okay, and the distinction is that a grand jury is summoned and they hear testimony. Is that right?
I believe so. This was actually my first encounter with a grand jury.
Oh, okay. Lucky you.
Yes.
And at that point, were you aware
If
of
he's nice to
what
you,
charges
he's
were
cool
being
with you.
attempted to be brought
That's the point.
against Mr. Daybell?
I was not, nor that I can't really recall it this time.
Okay. But you do recall that it was Mr. Daybell was the focus of the grand jury?
Mr. Garth Daybell, yeah, that is correct. That's
Okay.
correct.
And you don't have any recollection of what the underlying facts were about why he was brought in front of the grand jury?
Not specifically. It was a long time ago. I can't really recall. I do recall at that time he had actually previously testified in front of the grand jury. And when I was brought in, the grand jury had some follow-up questions, and that's what I was called in to assist him with during that time.
So you don't remember if this was a second grand jury that was convened?
I believe it was the second time they called him in. I'm not sure if that was a completely separate grand jury. I believe it was the same grand jury, but I can't really recall.
You're not sure about that?
That's correct.
Okay. Is it possible that it was a second grand jury convening against Mr. Daybell for perjury?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Do you have any recollection of the advice that you gave Mr. Daybell at that point?
Some. At that time, I had come in and Mr. Garth Daybell had some questions. He was concerned, given the fact that they had asked him some questions and he had previously testified. And so I consulted him as a defense attorney to answer only the question that was being asked, and that if he wasn't quite sure, that he could take the time to confer with me. I was not in the grand jury. I wasn't observing it. I was sitting outside of the courtroom. And I told him that if he ever needed to take a break, he could come talk to me. We could talk about the situation and go from there. Beyond that, I told him not to talk to the press anymore.
Okay. And at this point, you don't have any distinct recollection as to why you were there or what you were doing. Is that right?
I was there to advise him on giving testimony in his follow-up grand jury questioning. And my role as a defense attorney, and I believe in talking to Mr. Daybell at that time, was to ensure that he did not get himself into any trouble by possibly committing perjury or not remembering something quite correctly. I was there to assist him and to ensure that he, if he had questions, that he could come and talk to me and that we could go through it on a step-by-step basis.
Do you recall ever telling Mr. Daybell that this was a trap designed to catch him?
I don't recall ever saying that, though that would possibly be something that I might have said. I don't recall specifically.
You can't say it. It's possibly something you might have said. That's just that statement is the most unclear thing ever.
Okay.
As a defense attorney, that's always something that we're concerned about, is that if they previously testified on something, that if they're called to testify on the same thing again, that there is the potential as a defense attorney to potentially cross yourself. And so to watch out for that.
And your understanding is the focus of the grand jury wasn't about Chad Daybell. It was solely about Garth Daybell and his previous testimony. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And at this point, your understanding is that the grand jury did not indict Mr. Daybell for any kind of perjury charge. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Judge, I have nothing else.
All right. Any cross?
Just briefly, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Fisher, it was your understanding then that it was the same grand jury with some additional questions?
I don't really, I presume, but I didn't know for sure.
And at the end of the day, you provided legal advice to your client, correct?
That is correct.
And he testified in that second proceeding,
That is correct.
and there was no indictment.
That is correct.
I have no further questions.
Goodbye.
All right. Thank
No
you.
follow-up, Judge.
Very well. That'll conclude the
All right,
testimony.
guys. We're just busting through some of our faster ones. I was going to save these for shorter days like this where we have really short days where it's just fast. I know they brought Ray back, bro. I can't believe it. I saw Ray in there, but it was like 3 minutes long, and I was saving that for a day maybe where it was a little faster. Okay, so here's Ashlyn. This is Tylee's friend. Okay, and this is only 8 minutes long.
Swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but
It's so hard. Like, Kelsey and I were talking about this yesterday. And, you know, I just want to address something. I understand that you guys are, like, you understand it's real, but it's hard to even accept how real it is. And it's always hard to see, like, Tylee's friends and just anybody her age that was her friend grown up and having their lives. Like, first of all, let me preface this by saying I'm so grateful that they have their lives and they're happy and they're like doing good. It just reminds you of what could have been. And yeah, it's just, it's the reality check of like how much their lives are progressing and Tylee's isn't, obviously, or JJ's, but yeah, it's just hard.
Okay.
All right. I'll note the witness has been sworn. Before we proceed with testimony, let me just inquire. Ms. Rind, have you watched any of the trial testimony on the broadcast of this trial or seen anything in person here since this trial started?
No, sir.
All right. Have you talked to anyone else about testimony they've given during trial?
No, sir.
Okay. Thanks for answering those questions. Ms. Beatty, if you'd like to
She's
inquire,
so
you may.
respectful.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you state your full name and then spell your last name?
My name is Ashlyn Renee Rind, RYND,
Where do you live?
Chandler, Arizona.
How long have you lived in Chandler?
22 years now.
Did you know an individual by the name of Tylee Ryan?
I did, yes.
How did you know Tylee?
We were best friends in high school.
Do you remember approximately what year you met Tylee?
I want to say 2016 is when I met her.
And what high school did you attend with Tylee?
Perry High School.
Would have been 27.
Perry High School.
And that's in Chandler?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you know
What kinds of
I'm
things would
lying.
you and Tylee do together?
We would go on
No, it would have been 2017.
drives together, talk about just teenage things, you know, our high school boy drama with friends, what was going on in her life, what was going on in mine. We would just spend a lot of time together.
Kylie with boy drama. She should have told me about that. I've been all over those dudes. You'd never get near her.
Hanging out like at home and stuff.
Did you feel like you knew Tylee pretty well?
Very well, yeah.
Did you ever go to Tylee's house in Chandler?
Yes.
About how often would you visit Tylee at her house?
Frequently, I would even say once a week, maybe twice a week even.
And in visiting Tylee at her house, did you ever meet any of her family members?
I did, yes. I met Charles, I met Lori, JJ. I met Alex before too.
And could you just briefly describe?
I don't think we've ever met. And I know Tylee, so I remember when we got back, I got back from Kansas, they came back from Arizona, and then obviously I told you guys I started dating Kelsey. We got married and moved out, but I don't think I ever have met Ashlyn, and that, yeah, I don't think I've ever met her, to be honest.
Kind of what you observed about Tylee's relationship with JJ?
Almost maternal in the sense that she was always there to make sure he was cared for. First priority was making sure his well-being was always taken care of, and she would be next.
And tell us who Alex was.
Alex was her uncle, and he was also, I want to say, Lori's brother, but just another family member who was around for Tylee and would be there in case like Lori or Charles wasn't there.
About how often did you interact with or see Alex Cox?
Not as often. I would say maybe 6 months of the year I would see him. Not saying like I see him 6 months. Once every 6 months might see him.
Okay. Did you?
So what's even worse, just to give you guys a little more context, is to know how close Alex and Tylee were for a short time is why I still can't wrap my head around everything. Like when Alex started showing up in January of 2018 and was just around a lot and helping set up for the wedding, it was just so out of place. But like, he's your uncle, so you're not thinking it's like the weirdest thing ever. It's just like, okay, this dude's around a lot now. He's helping us. Like, we did everything for our wedding in the backyard of my parents' house at that time. And so we kind of did everything ourselves. Like, Kelsey and I literally made all of our decorations, and Tylee helped us. My mom helped us. Like, everybody kind of chipped in and help. And so long story short, Alex was around, and Tylee and Alex had their own relationship. As you guys know, when Tylee came home from Hawaii, she stayed at Alex's house, meaning just him and her, even though he was probably gone working up to a certain point. You know, that's just, I don't know, just a lot. So yeah, they got really close in that time too. So they had their own relationship. And I remember observing it because they kind of had similar sense of humor, just more like dry and kind of like, I don't want to use the word dark humor, but like just kind of like off-putting humor in my opinion. But Tylee had multiple different sides of her humor, but that's where they connected. And then they connected on photography. And so that's kind of what that was, is like Alex was, I think, a self-proclaimed photographer, and Tylee also had cameras at different times and was kind of a photographer. So she took a lot of pictures, and he was kind of a part of that part of her life too. So I'm just giving you guys some context to just understand kind of how this whole thing works. Yeah.
Make any observations about the nature of his relationship with Tylee?
Friendly. It seemed very much the normal teenage to uncle relationship. They joked around a lot, had a good relationship.
Aw, thank you, Tanya.
There, and I know he offered her a place to stay when she needed it.
Did she feel comfortable with Alex from what you could observe?
She did, yeah.
Okay. At some point, did Tylee move away from Chandler?
She did. She moved to Idaho in 2019. I remember moving to Texas before that too.
And let's start with when she moved to Texas. Do you remember approximately when that was?
In 2017 or
I
20.
wonder if Ashlyn is one of the girls that went to Disneyland with her.
2018 during my junior year of high school.
And just to be clear for the jury, when she moved to Texas, did she come back to Chandler at some point?
She did, yes. She came back for a short period of time, and then I want to say maybe 6 months later, it was, we're going to go to Idaho.
So while she was in Texas, did you stay in contact
That's
with?
crazy that she told her. They didn't even tell me. That's just insane. Like, they literally didn't even tell me. But she knew that they were going to Idaho.
Her?
Yes, yeah.
And when she returned to Chandler, did you continue to spend time with her?
Yeah, the second she got home.
Do you remember approximately when Tylee moved to Idaho?
That must have been, I want to say sometime in September of 2019, end of the summer.
Did you stay in contact with Tylee after she moved to Idaho?
Tried to for the 2 weeks that I had. And then after that, it kind of fell off, so I wasn't able to.
Your Honor, if I could have just one moment.
Yes.
It just makes everything so real, huh?
And I have no further questions for this witness.
All right, thank you.
Pryor, you better. Oh, I'll jump through the screen on you. On this one, don't say nothing.
Mr. Pryor, you can cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Rind.
Morning.
Ms. Rind, you mentioned that Alex was around. You maybe saw him every 6 months or so.
Every so often, I say that roughly as an estimate. He was a truck driver, so with his work and with my schooling, I wasn't able to always see him.
So the opportunity to observe him is when he was in town occasionally, and you saw, would you say it was a handful of times that you saw Alex interact with Tylee?
Essentially, yeah, I would.
Less than 6 times?
In my experience, yeah, maybe more than that, just because she was living with him, so I would see them interact when he was home at that point.
Okay. Now you described, and you recall getting interviewed by Officer Wright from the FBI. Do you recall that?
I don't recall the name, but I do recall being interviewed by local agents.
And you talked a little bit about the close relationship that Tylee had with JJ.
Mhm.
And in that interview, you described that it was, and you said it again today, that it was a very maternal relationship.
Mhm.
And that the two of them were very close. And you were aware of JJ's special needs, correct?
Mhm.
And would it be fair to say that JJ relied on Tylee for a lot of his basic needs?
I would say he wasn't relying on her, but she was there for him. I don't think JJ really was like, this is who I rely on. He was going for anybody who was going to provide for him. But Tylee would always be the one to show up.
Okay. And
There you go. So that's why I always say this, and I think her response was amazing. It's exactly right. Is that Pryor's trying to paint a picture that Lori abandoned JJ in that sense of like never taking care of him, and that Tylee had to be this parental figure. That's not the truth. Tylee did, yes, play a role as a nurturer, but as a big sister. And obviously when you're that much older than your sibling and you know he has special needs, she automatically, because of who she was in her heart and as a person, took care of JJ. But that does not mean that I ever saw Tylee being forced to like make JJ have dinner or anything of that nature. That never fell to her like that. So that's just a false narrative.
And she was a strong support system in his life.
Yes.
And should she be gone, he would notice that. I mean, he depended on the regularity of seeing Tylee as part of his support
Your Honor,
system.
I think I would object. We're calling for speculation on the part of JJ at this point.
Sustained.
Needless to say, as part of his support system, what you observed, he relied on her as part of the support system in his life. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Okay, Judge, I have nothing else. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You better keep it moving.
And Your Honor, I have no redirect, and this witness is excused from her subpoena.
All right. I think that is it for short testimonies. There is a school secretary here. There's some shorter ones. Like we kind of skipped over some of the Hawaii stuff. We've skipped over some of the Arizona stuff just because at this point I've heard all the Arizona stuff because I went to court and listened to it. And I also listened to a lot of their evidence and stuff. So like there's really not too much more I need to know about that. And I don't think there's really anybody else. I know there's a few people in here that I know we kind of skipped over a lot, and I don't want anybody to feel disrespected if we skipped over your testimony. It's just we don't really need that. Well, here's Ray's. We're going to listen to this just because Ray literally comes in here for 3 minutes. So this will be our last one of the day. And then we will probably, if you guys are down, please, how about just this? Let's just put a 1 in the chat if you'd like to take tomorrow to watch those interviews for more context. Or do you want to finish court, which would be closing arguments on both sides? Let me know. Just type 1 if you want to continue, or if you want to watch the interviews. Type 2 in the chat if you want to continue court tomorrow before we take a break for Christmas. This is Ray back for the third
All right, before we
time.
inquire on direct, then I'll note the witness, Lieutenant Hermosillo, has been sworn. Lieutenant, have you observed or watched any trial testimony since you were last here?
No, Your Honor.
Have you talked to anybody else about the testimony they've given in trial?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thanks for your responses, Ms. Blake. If you'd like to inquire, you may.
Everybody wants to watch the interviews.
Thank
Okay, we'll
you.
do that.
Lieutenant Hermosillo, can you remind the jurors where you work?
Rexburg Police Department.
Man, this boy thick as frick up here in his new suit. All right, we'll watch the interviews. We got a lot to get through then, because I think so. Gibbs was long, and then Pulowski's is broken into like 3 parts, but we'll watch all of it.
And did you begin work on a case involving 2 missing children?
Oh, Aaron, that's so awesome. Happy 30th wedding anniversary to you guys. That's amazing.
Specifically JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan.
Yes, I did.
Do you recall when you became involved in that investigation?
When we started looking for JJ, that was November 26th, 2019, when we performed the welfare check.
And were you involved in the beginning of Idaho's involvement into the whereabouts of JJ Vallow?
Yes.
Do you recall when the bodies of the children were recovered?
June 9th, 2020.
And where were they recovered?
Chad Daybell's backyard.
During the investigation, did you learn who Emma Daybell or Emma Murray is?
We did.
And who is she?
The daughter of Chad Daybell.
Lieutenant Hermosillo, did you ever see Emma Murray at the gym?
I did one time early on in the investigation, yes.
And when you say early on in the investigation, would it have been before the discovery of the children?
It was.
When you saw her at the gym, did you approach her?
No.
Did you talk to her?
No.
Did you ask her questions?
No.
Did you go and work out by her?
No.
Have you ever driven by the Daybell property?
I have, yes.
Did you drive by it as part of this investigation?
Yes, I did.
Do you have other reasons that you would sometimes drive by that property?
I have several reasons. We have our dry cleaning business that's a 1/4 mile down the road from the Daybell residence. I also have family that lives north of the Daybell residence. But most importantly, I think the reason I was driving by the Daybell residence was it was a very active investigation at that time.
Did that include driving by prior to the children being located?
I'm sorry, could you say that one more time?
Did you drive by prior to the location of the children's bodies?
Yes.
And did you drive by sometimes after?
Yes.
Did you drive by 2 times a week?
No.
Freaking Ray the stalker.
And
that's what they're trying to say Ray was doing. Ray wanted to work out by them. He wanted to eavesdrop. I'm sure he wouldn't have headphones in listening to 90s rap. I'm sure he was just sitting there like, say something, Emma. I'm sure Emma is going to discuss important case details at the gym, and Ray is curling 2.5-pound dumbbells for his massive biceps. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous.
again, when we talk about driving by that property, you said that was a significant piece of the investigation.
It was.
And can you remind us what was found on that property?
JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan.
Do you know when Tammy died, where she was located?
I do.
Where was that?
Chad Daybell's bedroom.
So all 3 at the Daybell property or in the residence?
Correct.
I have no further questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Blake.
Boom and done.
Cross-examination, Mr. Pryor.
No questions.
He doesn't want
All
any
right,
more
that will-
smoke with Ray. All right, guys. Well, tomorrow we will get into the interviews before we go to the closing arguments. If you guys also are in any capacity interested in listening to Lori's, that's actually one of the first videos we did on the channel. If you go back, I reviewed that a long time ago, and it was before I ever interviewed her, and a lot of my mind has changed here. So we could also go back and just finish up with her since it never got done. So I like to just ask you guys where you're at with it, because I'm a little bit, like, I know what I wanted to hear, we've listened to, and to get more context from different places. So I'm kind of down for whatever. What is up, big dog? Yeah, I know you love those 2.5 dumbbells, brother. We know that. We know you love to get over there, and you love stalking, and you love, you know, catching a whiff of someone because you want to be close to them with your 2.5 dumbbells, and you have headphones in, but you turn them off so you can hear everybody talking. We know how you like to get down. If I need to be any more clear, I'm kidding, because we know Ray is not out here stalking people. But whatever. Anyway, love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. We will get into it. It's probably going to be a long day, so maybe we'll start a little bit earlier tomorrow. And then, freaking Ray, bro. Freaking Ray, bro. But we'll get back into the closing arguments probably after Christmas. So I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll put up a thumbnail for you. And I'll see you guys soon, man. Love you. Also, thank you to all of you for being here. And also, thank you, mods, always. You guys are OGs. We love you. And thank you for all the hard work you guys put into every single day that we do these. So appreciate you guys, man. Love you.